Alright guys, for the first round, my opponent's first Pokemon is a Swampert. Swampert being a water and ground type Pokemon, this is going to be a even start between damage, but I do know that Swampert's Hydro Cannon does charge up way faster than my own Obstagoon's Night Slash. So that Hydro Cannon did do a good amount of initial damage, as you guys saw there. My Night Slash was charged up though. I am going to be throwing in. We do get to that excellent there. I did do a good amount of initial damage back. Both of us are basically on the same health. I do know that Hydro Cannon will be doing more neutral damage, while my counter will be doing more neutral damage than my opponent's Swampert's Bloodshot. So we do get hit by another Hydro Cannon. We are very close to fainting right there. My Night Slash is charged up. I do have to get to that excellent because there may be a chance to just choose not to throw in a shield. Just so you can take the 50-50 and see who does actually faint first. So both of us, his Swampert does go down there. Both of us are very low. My Obstagoon at least is very low. My Night Slash is charged up, and my opponent's second Pokemon is a Venusaur. Venusaur being a grass and poison type Pokemon, both of us are going to be doing neutral damage against each other. So I do decide to make that swap out into my Gengar. Gengar being a ghost and grass type Pokemon, we will be resisting all of his ghost and grass type, all of his poison and grass type moves, due to poison types being not very effective against poison types and grass types being not very effective against poison types. My opponent does get to his charge move right here, so I do decide to throw in my first shield. Both of us are down by one shield, but I do know that I am going to have the damage advantage. So I do decide to throw in my Shadow Punch right here. It is going to be doing a lot of neutral damage, as you guys will see here. Boom, it is going to be doing a good amount of damage, enough damage for my Cresselia to actually come in and go for the hard farm down. My opponent does get to his Frenzy Plant once again. That is going to be doing a lot of neutral damage against us, but I do decide not to throw in a shield there because Cresselia being a very tanky Pokemon, he will be easily able to tank that Hydro Cannon or the Frenzy Plant or that Sludge Bomb. My opponent's final Pokemon is a Charizard. Charizard being a fire and flying type Pokemon, he will be resisting my fairy type moves, while all of his fire and flying type moves will be doing neutral damage. So right here, I do decide to get hit by a Blast Beam. I know that it is going to be a Blast Beam from how fast he did get to his charge move. So I do decide not to throw in a shield here, but instead I do decide to get to that Moonblast. Preserve my shield from my Gengar, so then I will be able to make that to charge up to that Shadow Ball that I do know will instantly faint my opponent's Charizard, allowing us to win the first round. Good game to my opponent. Alright guys, for the second round, my opponent's first Pokemon is an Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh being a fire and flying type Pokemon, he will be resisting my counter due to fighting types being not very effective against flying types. I do know that I will have the advantage on damage due to my Obstagoon having way charging faster charge moves. As you guys see from my Night Slash, we are able to get to 2 Night Slashes before my opponent does even get to 1 charge move. We are doing very good damage. I did decide to throw in my first shield here just in case it is going to be a Brave Bird or something like an Earthquake that will instantly faint my Obstagoon. As you guys see, he did throw in a Brave Bird, but he did make a swap out into a Melmetal so that he doesn't receive the attack debuff that you get from that Brave Bird. So since Melmetal being a steel type Pokemon, I am just going to stick the one-on-one with my Obstagoon. I do know that he does have access to Superpower. Superpower being a fighting type charge move, fighting types will be doing double super effective damage against my Obstagoon due to fighting types being super effective against both dark types and normal types. So as you guys see, we did get hit by a Superpower right there that I did actually throw in a shield for. My Night Slash is doing a good amount of going to be doing a good amount of neutral damage, especially because he did actually throw in the superpower that does give you a attack and defense debuff. So I do know that my opponent does have 2 shields left, but my Night Slashes are going to be doing such a good amount of damage against that hobo. I still have my Gengar and my Cresselia in the back, both full health. My opponent's second to last Pokemon is a Cresselia. Cresselia being a psychic type Pokemon, that Night Slash was going to be doing so much super effective damage against him due to Dark types being super effective against psychic types. So after my Obstagoon does actually faint, I am going to decide to make that swap out into my Gengar, because Gengar does also have access to ghost type moves. But the upsides and downsides of making that swap out into Gengar is that he will have access to a bunch of psychic type moves probably, but all of his fairy and ghost type moves are going to be doing not very effective damage. So I did actually decide not to take that risk and make that swap out into my Cresselia actually. Cresselia having access to Moonblast is going to be doing a good amount of neutral damage. And especially if he does get the attack debuff, that will give my own Cresselia a very good advantage. So I do know that my opponent does have 1 shield left while I do have 0, but that Earthquake is going to be doing a good amount of neutral damage against my Cresselia that I don't have to worry about right now. But if my Giratina does go, or my Gengar does go up against that Ho-Oh, he will get insta one-shot from that Brave Bird or that Earthquake. He still is deciding not to throw any shields, and here comes that Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh coming in, I do know that he will probably be throwing any Brave Bird or an Earthquake that will instantly faint my Cresselia. We were actually able to survive that Earthquake, but it did do a good amount of neutral damage against my own Cresselia, leaving him with 1 HP left. So I did decide to make that quick swap into my Gengar and go for the hard farm down. Shadow Punch, or it's charged up. We do get my opponent's first shield or final shield, and from here my Shadow Claws are going to be doing a bunch of super effective damage. We are able to get to another Shadow Punch that I do know will be able to faint my opponent's Cresselia, allowing us to win the second round. Good game to our opponent. For the third round, my opponent's first Pokemon is an Obstagoon. So this is going to be an even start. Right here, it just depends on whoever gets to the charge move first to pressure your opponent into either throwing a shield or not throwing in a shield. As you guys see here, I am able to get to my Night Slash before my opponent does actually get to his Cross Chop. I am not running Night Slash plus Cross Chop, but instead I am running Gunk Shot plus Night Slash. So as you guys saw there, fighting types will be doing double super effective damage against my Obstagoon, so I do decide to throw in my shield there. Night Slash is charged up. This will probably do enough not very effective damage against my opponent due to Dark types being not very effective against Dark types. So my Night Slash is charged up. We do get in my opponent's final shield, and I did decide to throw in my final shield here as well. I did decide to mirror that. Both of us are very low. I do know that Cross Chop will instantly faint my own Obstagoon. Right here, I do actually, both of us don't actually win the trade. Both of us do go down right there, and I do actually decide to wait for my opponent to throw in his Pokemon. That is going to give us the advantage, because if he does throw in the Pokemon first, then we are able to see what his second Pokemon is. But right here, this is very good. I do decide to my Cresselia does actually come up to go up against that Swampert, and Swampert being a water and ground type Pokemon, he is going to be doing a good amount of neutral damage. But my opponent does make a swap out into his Giratina to actually counter my Cresselia, so I did decide to make a swap out into my Gengar, because Gengar having access to ghost type moves, ghost types will be doing super effective damage against ghost types. Boom, that Shadow Ball did instantly one-shot him. His Swampert is going to be coming out. His Mudshot is going to be doing a good amount of damage. He is going to be throwing in his Hydro Cannon against my Gengar. My final Pokemon is actually that Cresselia, and my Moonblast is charged up. This is going to be doing a lot of neutral damage, possibly getting to my opponent's Swampert at half health. My opponent does get to his charge room right here. We do also get that attack debuff. We are going to be hit by a Hydro Cannon, but I don't even have to worry, because my Cresselia is very tanky. On top of that, my opponent did also get a attack debuff from my first Moonblast that I did throw on, and because of that, it did allow us to win the third round. Good game to our opponent. Alright guys, for the final round, my opponent's first Pokemon is a Snorlax. Snorlax being a normal type Pokemon, this is going to be a very good start, especially because Snorlax having Lick as his fast move, Lick being a ghost type fast move, ghost types we will be double resisting due to ghost types being not very effective against both dark types and normal types. So right here I do know that Snorlax does have access to superpower, but I do decide that this is going to be a shield bait as it is. Body Slam being a normal type move is barely even going to scratch my Obstagoon. Nice Slash is charged up. It is going to be doing a good amount of neutral damage. Once again, we are very much ahead on damage because once again my Obstagoon is fully countering the Snorlax, and because of that my opponent does easily decide to throw in the surrender, allowing us to win the final round. Good game to that opponent. Alright guys, so that will be the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, and turning notifications on. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.